Hey everybody, good morning. It's Monday again. Brand new week. We're in week 5 of our semester at UTD. That's kind of crazy to think about. Quarter of a way through the semester. But anyway, hope everything's going great for you guys. Things are going well here. Just wanted to get with you and talk to you for just a minute. I'm going to try to do this every Monday morning, or most Monday mornings anyway. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about tension. Probably not what you're thinking about. But before I start talking about that, the first thing I want to do is I want to make a recommendation to you. From time to time, might make recommendations for books or movies or something like, probably not movies very often. But in this case, it is a documentary film, and it's called The Social Experiment. And I watched it yesterday, and I have to tell you that this was perhaps the most frightening documentary that I have ever seen in my life. I knew that big tech companies and social media companies sort of had their tentacles in lots of areas of our lives, but I had no idea how extensive and how bad it was. I've been off of Facebook for a week now. I deleted my account a week ago. And I have to tell you that after watching this documentary yesterday, I'm really happy that I did, and I'm considering getting off of social media altogether. I hate to get off of Instagram because I do a lot on it, and I'm connected to some of my students, and we have some class stuff. But anyway, I recommend it to you, especially if you're a parent. If you're a parent, please go watch this. It's about an hour and a half long. There's a lot of kind of complicated tech talk in it, and a lot of it went over my head. But the gist is very clear about how really insidious these social media companies are, and I just can't recommend it to you enough. Especially if you're a parent, please go watch it, and please consider whether or not you think it's a good idea for your children and even for you yourself to continue on with these companies. But anyway, I'm not going to be a huge crusader about that, at least not right now. But I do want to recommend it to you again. It's called The Social Experiment, and it's on Netflix, about an hour and a half long. It's not a conspiracy theory. The people that they're interviewing on there are people who are in the business. They created these companies. They created the features of these platforms. They know what they're talking about. It's not a conspiracy theory, and I think you need to go watch it. One more time, The Social Experiment. It's on Netflix. Go watch it today. Anyway, so now let's get down to business at hand. I want to talk to you about tension. And the tension that I want to talk to you about today is not the kind of tension that exists, say, when we're having trouble at work, or when we're having trouble in a relationship or something like that. The tension that I want to talk to you about is the tension that is created when we're doing something that's difficult, but that's worth doing. That's the kind of tension that I want to talk to you about today. So let's think about a rubber band. I'm really big on sort of object lessons. So let's think about a rubber band for a minute. When is a rubber band at its most effective? A rubber band is at its most effective when it's most tense and almost ready to break. That's when it's at its most effective. That's when it holds everything together the way it's meant to hold everything together. We come across things, and we come to points in our lives when things are happening. We're growing, we're learning, we're doing things that are important to us and important to other people, and that with that growth comes that sort of tension that you get with a rubber band. As we learn more things, and as we do more things, and as we become more impactful in the world around us, that tension starts to build. And a lot of times what happens is that people run away from that tension. I used to do that myself. Every time I felt a little bit of that tension hit in my life, I would run away from it, scared to death of what it meant. For a long time, I thought that I was afraid of failing. And then I was in counseling, and the counselor suggested to me that I wasn't afraid of failing, but maybe I was afraid of succeeding. And so for a lot of years, I thought, yeah, that's what it was. I was afraid of succeeding. But now I realize that it's not either one of those. I wasn't afraid of failing, and I wasn't afraid of succeeding. I was afraid of the tension, and I was afraid of what that tension meant. I was afraid that I was going to break, and I was afraid that if I broke, that it was going to affect someone else in some negative way. But we have to get past that point where we're scared of that tension in our lives. We have to lean into that tension. The best thing to do when we start feeling that tension in our lives is to lean into it, to press into it even more, and to go further with what we're doing, because that feeling of tension that comes means that what we're doing is working. Remember, the rubber band works best when it's most tense, right? And so that tension in our lives means that what we're doing is working, that we're working the best. So instead of running away from it, instead of start pulling things out of your lives to relieve that tension, lean into that attention, press into it harder, do what you're doing, continue to do what you're doing because it's working. That's a sign that it's working. Of course, we need to be careful that we're not taking on too much, because it is possible to put too much inside a rubber band, and that rubber band will eventually break. So you need to be careful that you just put just the right amount in it. Same thing with our lives. Don't pack so much into your life that that tension gets to the point where you break, because you can, and it does happen. It's happened to me before, and it's not a good feeling, and it's not a good thing. So be careful. Make sure you're just putting that right amount of tension, that you're not packing too much stuff into your life so that you're going to break. But don't be afraid of that tension. It's a good thing. Again, it means that what you're doing is positive, and what you're doing is working, and what you're doing is impacting someone else outside yourself. And in the end, that is the most important thing. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, guys. I wanted to talk to you about that kind of tension that comes when we're doing important things and when we're doing good things. Don't be afraid of it. Don't run away from it. Let it make you a better person, and in turn, let it make the world a better place, and let it make other people better versions of themselves. That's what it's all about, right? I hope so. I hope you're doing well wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I hope you are well. I hope you are safe. I hope you're healthy and happy. And I hope that you're finding some of that good tension in your life, and that you're not running away from it, but that you're leaning into it, because that's where you need to be. Have a great week ahead, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.